Megan Barstrom, and welcome to Gaston Spotlight. Today, we have special guests Nick Weisenhorn and Pete Hunt. Hey guys, how are you doing today? Thanks for being on the show.
Doing real good. Thank you for having us.
Doing well.
Awesome. Well, today we're going to talk about Gaston Spotlight being on Spreaker.com, and I understand that you guys also have shows on Spreaker.com?
Yes. The one that I'm in is called Screen Discussions, and it is me and another broadcast student, Brad, who was originally the one who came up with the show, and we just decided one day in class, we both enjoy movies, so we decided to sit down and throw some ideas out there how we can do it, and just went off with it.
Oh, so you guys do a podcast about movies?
Yes, movies, new movies that just came out that we just saw, kind of our little review about it, or new ones coming out next year, if they're like set photos or like behind the scene videos of it and what we think about it, and stuff like that. Like, let's see, the last episode we just did, we talked about the new Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix and like what he looks like in costume, and what we think about him playing that character.
Oh, that's really cool. What other stuff do you guys talk about? Do you talk about like really old movies, or is it just new movies and stuff?
It's not really old movies as much. Kind of like current movies, like right now, what's going on.
Reviews?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, we'll do that. And Brad, at the end of our podcast, likes to do a little trivia game about certain movies, and then that's kind of how we end it. And last episode as well, after we talked about the Joker movie, we decided, the Emmys happened, I think, that past weekend, and we decided, oh, hey, who won the Emmys? What did we think about the people that won these awards and everything like that?
All right. And Pete, I understand you have a podcast as well. Was it about sports?
Yes, it's called No Cheering in the Press Box with Carson Dockery, Edwin Ludwig, and myself.
Okay.
And basically all we do, we just break down games, whether it's NFL, MLB, NCAA. We just do football, basketball, baseball right now, since that's the season right now. And this week's show is going to be about breaking down the NBA season. So that's what our focus will be on this week's show.
So what do you guys typically talk about with dealing with NBA? Is it just like players, the points? Like, what about it?
Well, with this upcoming show, we're going to be breaking down each conference, the Eastern and Western Conference, our favorite teams, our top 5 teams of each conference, and then our eventual finals winner, and that's about it. And then we'll talk about individual players as well.
Okay, so would you say like the podcast you're doing is mostly for like sports buffs and people who are really interested in learning more about sports that are on TV?
Oh yeah,
like
I mean, it's for the sports buff or the casual fan. I mean, we cover it in a way that everybody will like it.
Okay, so, that's cool. That's good. And what other shows are on Spreaker?
Well, there's there's Screen Discussions, and then there's No Cheering in the Press Box, and there's also the Manifestation Project. And then there's the Manifestation Project is another student's, Nick Black's. That's his show, and it's pretty much like a spiritual type podcast. Is talking about the human body and the mindsets and things like that. And then you got the Citizen Report with Jonathan, who is just current events, news, stuff like that. And then you got Beyond the Trail with Harper, who does, like scary stories, paranormal type things. And then I believe that's all of them.
Oh, so like the Beyond the Trail one would be really good for like Halloween themes and stuff like that. So people would definitely check it out for Halloween coming up and stuff like that. Does she tell really like scary stories, or is it just like spooky, creepy?
Well, I think it just depends who you ask, who finds what scary and what creepy. But usually it's how she does it, just how she records it, how she has the music and sets the mood with it. That makes it just great to listen to.
Very well. Awesome. It's very well produced. She does a really good job on that.
That's really cool. And so, Gaston Spotlight being on Spreaker, is it just podcasts, or how is there like Get Fit with Gaston on there? Is it the interviews? Like, what all is on it?
Just podcasts.
Just the podcast?
Yeah, just a podcast from the students.
Okay, so Spreaker is mainly just a podcast website.
Yes.
All right, can other people upload their own podcasts on the show, or is it just Gaston students?
I think the Spreaker altogether is a website for podcasts. You can make your own account and upload yours there and edit all of it and customize it yourself. So it's for anybody.
Oh, well, that's interesting. And now here's a clip from Nick Weisenhorn's Screen Discussions. Check it out.
Apparently it's up in the air if Henry Cavill is going to continue the role of Superman in the DC Extended Universe now. We've heard he's done. Something about they weren't wanting to commit to him with a long-term contract, and he's done. You got any thoughts on that?
It was pretty much of a shock for me because, he's not the best Superman of all time, but in this generation, at least. Well, you still have Christopher Reeves.
I was going to ask, who is your Superman?
Christopher Reeves.
Christopher Reeves.
It's a little old school and cheesy, but it's
the
original.
The classics are what people really love,
Yeah, but it was kind of I don't know. Again, it was just kind of a shock to me. Him playing as Superman was a good idea. I thought it was kind of weird in Justice League how from the nose down was fake because they had a CGI because of that really, mustache.
I know. I'd only heard about that until after I saw Justice League.
And now we're going to show a clip from Pete Hunt's No Cheering in the Press Box.
And guys, we're going to start going over Week 1's results from the NCAA ranks, and we'll start with the defending national champions. That's right, the University of Central Florida. you know I had to. 56-17 winners over the UConn Huskies, and UCF. Technically they are a national championship. They've got all those banners. They got some rings. What are you looking at? What are you looking at out of the Knights this year, guys?
More of the same, in my opinion. They still have Mackenzie Milton, who I think is going to be a dynamic player for them this year. And look, it's not like their schedule's extremely hard this year. Like their biggest non-conference games are against Pitt and, no offense, North Carolina. So I still feel like they could have a good shot at becoming undefeated yet again.
I'm with you, Evan. Central Florida is Central Florida of last year. Great defense, and like you said, the conference. And like you said, their schedule is not going to be really that tough, so they could run the table again.
All right, now going to the BCS National Championship.
All right, well, thank you, Pete. Thank you, Nick, for being on the show today. It was a pleasure having you. And you guys should definitely check out Gaston Spotlight on Spreaker.com. Let us know what you think. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.